Hello and welcome to What's Happening Here at WT. My name is Hannah Franklin and joining me is Jamie Abbott. So Jamie, tell me a little bit about your involvement here at WT and specifically with the campus radio station.
Okay, I've been involved with KWTS my whole time here. I got here in the fall of 2018. I joined KWTS because when I was in high school, I came and took a tour with my journalism class. And we went through and I met with the general manager at the time and I asked him, I said, hey, how do I do this? This seems really cool. And he said, oh, you just take the practicum class. Well, I got to NSO and the first thing I did was sign up for the practicum class. And then, I took the class and I ended up applying for a special show, The Crypt. It was early alternative. I kind of wanted to do it like something kind of similar to BuzzFeed Unsolved, but not really. And I did that, and the next semester, Randy told me, he said, hey, you should apply for music director, and I did, and I think that was my best choice that I've made, like, ever, because that opened up a whole lot of doors for me, and I've been working with them ever since. So
That's awesome. I think that it's impactful that you learned about it and you signed up and you have been in it ever since. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, what the class structure is. So if someone is interested in taking the class, what does that look like for them?
So the class structure has changed a little bit since COVID, but pre-COVID, what the class structure was like is you would every week have a shift on air. But you would also be involved with one of the directors. You'd be underneath one of the directors and you'd be doing homework for the director. Like production team would be making production for the station. Music team would be listening to CDs, choosing music. But since COVID, we've kind of changed that a little bit, and the class right now is focusing on podcasting and putting podcasting on the station, because it's a more contact-free way to do things, because the way we did things before COVID, students had to be at a certain number of events, or they had to do a certain number of things to help promote the station, which isn't kind of feasible right now, but hopefully we'll get back to that at some point. So,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So share a little bit about what one of the biggest lessons has been with your involvement being in this program, and what's something really cool that you've learned that you will never forget?
I think the biggest lesson is to just take opportunities, because if I didn't take the opportunity to become music director, I wouldn't have opened the door to all these new jobs I'm involved in, and I wouldn't have been able to build relationships with my friends at the station. I wouldn't have been able to build a relationship with people like Randy and Johnny and Dane, and I feel like it was very important to build that relationship in this department, to be involved with that community. So.
If you had the opportunity to talk to a new student that was wanting to come to WT and they were considering taking KWTS, what would you say to really push them to sign up for it?
I mean, even if, radio isn't your career, it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of new people, a lot of different people. There's a very diverse class in there, and I think honestly, I just think music brings people together. Like when I train practicum students, we mainly just sit there talking about the musics we like, and that has built friendships. I'm friends with some of the practicum students I trained because we built that connection. So,
What would you say is one of your favorite memories from being in this class?
One of my favorite memories is when my first semester when I was a practicum student, we had an assignment to present a special show. And of course I was presenting the show that I later turned in as an application. And we had to get up there and do a jock break. And what I wanted my show to be like is I wanted it to be, like I said, like BuzzFeed Unsolved type thing, you know, mysteries, creepy stuff like that. And I got up there and I read this story about a like mysterious like Russian radio signal. And you know, I had written out the notes and I had practiced it in my head, and I got up there and I read it, and even though like my voice was shaking and I was anxious, I did it. And that was something I'd never been able to do before when I was in high school. I think that was a huge confidence booster for me.
That's awesome. And I love that later on, after doing that jock break in class, you said, hey, I want to make this a real show.
Yeah.
And then later you got to do it. Well, very nice. Thank you for joining me today. And that was another episode of What's Happening at WT.